Okay, the next one is Bolero. And now I'm going to play single notes using the chicken wing. So now I'm breaking a rule. Whereas I said for single notes we were going to use constant motion, use wrist. I'm going to use arm for this soft excerpt. Requires just a little bit of concentration because that goes on for about 15 minutes. You know, the hard part is the opening, getting with the conductor and getting it to sink in with the flute player. And as things start to get louder, you have the brass play with you, and you have the strings start to play more of these rhythms with you. It becomes a little easier to play, but the opening there is a little tricky. It's a little delicate. Yeah.
What determines where you're playing at on the drum head?
That's a good question. It's mostly dynamic.
Is it?
It's mostly dynamic, yeah. For my soft playing, I think it's, and I think you'd agree, it's a lot harder to play soft when you're playing near the center of the drum. Look how low my sticks have to be to play at that volume, whereas if I play at the edge, I think it's a softer sound. I think we're utilizing the natural characteristics of the drum to play softer. As I get louder, I go more to the center. I almost always avoid the dead center, unless it's you know, some Shostakovich thing that I just want as loud as possible. But yeah, that's the main component. The only way we can do this, though, is if our drum is nice and responsive. Okay. Luckily, this Pearl drum has nice snare response at the edge. So one of the things we want to work on is we want to make sure that we work on our snares, right tension, right snare response at the softest dynamics. Okay, let's see now. You know, here's another rule I'm going to break. Here's a Bartok, the opening of Bartok Concerto for Orchestra, and now I'm going to use a slightly different stroke. It combines some arm and some wrist. Okay, if you watch timpani players, rarely do timpani players just utilize their wrist for all their playing. A lot of times you see a timpani player who's trying to get a big forte on that low 32-inch drum, and he or she's going to go like this, okay? Trying to get the weight of their arm into this. I think we can apply that to the snare drum, to this Bartok excerpt. I'll play it for you and then explain a little bit. So what am I doing? The way this is written and the way the music is approached is the bassoon comes in later. They go, so what happens? They're playing long and short notes. They've got the advantage of being able to put air through the instrument. We don't have that. So I think we've got to create other ways to create long notes. So what note's longer? This or this? I'd say the second. Also, if you're watching it, it certainly looks longer. And I know, and as do you, that people hear with their eyes. So I think it's important to demonstrate this long sound with the stroke. But I do think that using your arm, I think this makes for a warmer, longer sound. So wherever I can in this excerpt, I'm going to try to create long sounds and short sounds. There's another way to play this. I could use two sticks, and I could use just the left for all the long notes, and I can go real slow and then play the 16ths with my other hand. So. Okay, so you that kind of demonstrates what I'm looking for here. There's going to be times in your playing where you may not necessarily want to attack the drum in such a way that everything's short and aggressive. You may have opportunities, especially when the snares are off, to get some nice warm sounds. Okay? There's other pieces in Bartok, like the sonata for two pianos and percussion, that I think it would help to utilize some more arm in your playing. One thing to note about this is that I didn't completely divorce myself from this constant motion technique. I use the arm, but at the end, that wrist is bringing the stick back up to a plane, rather than leaving it down on the drum. Okay, that's an important aspect of playing the snare drum too. If I go like this, we got a pretty crass sound. That works out great if I'm playing in a rock club and it's mic'd up, and there's going to be lots of people talking. I might even try and get some backbeats in there. I mean, some riff shots in there for my backbeats. But I think in the orchestra, you're going to make a lot more friends, especially those horn and trumpet players in front of you, if you're pulling the stick out of the drum rather than leaving it into the drum. Okay? So that's one of the aspects of this constant motion technique, is that your tone improves, your sound improves. And we should be thinking about that on every instrument. Snare drum, marimba, xylophone, tambourine, and it's a lot about our stroke, and that's what we're talking about.